Hello, artist. It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. It is our 62nd day of drawing together. I have just been to the dentist and I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to talk after going to the dentist. I've had some Novocaine on the right side of my face and it's kind of challenging. So I'm going to take a drink of water. Okay, I'm going to get through this. We're going to get through this today. Today we are back to circles again, and we are talking about mandalas. Now, mandalas are circle motifs that are found all over the world, and I'm going to show you a few. Now, they hold the positives and the negatives. They hold the polarities, the masculine, the feminine, all that we are. So there are so many different forms of mandalas. Mandalas are typically a circular pattern, and within that there are multitudes of designs, really beautiful designs. And I love to use mandalas. I first learned to make mandalas, 25 years ago when I started out at Edgewood College. My professor, Lori Ellen Udstadt, loved working in mandalas. Now, some people pronounce them mandalas, and that may be the proper way to say them, but I've, for 25 years, have been saying mandalas. So if you prescribe to the pronunciation mandalas, I apologize, but I will say mandala because that's how I pronounce it. So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm wrong. So just so many different beautiful patterns. So we are going to think about who we are and all of the things that make us whole. So when you think of a mandala, now these are for the purpose of coloring for artists, coloring books for artists, but we're going to think about ourselves as humans and as artists. And I'm going to work what I normally don't work on. I usually say don't use this for making your best art. Use it for really rough drafts and sketching and fast, quick art. But that was my point today. I wanted to be able to work on this mandala really, really quickly. So newsprint works great for the pastels that I've chosen. So I've traced with a paper plate, nice circle, and it's much bigger than I thought it would be. I guess I don't think about size when I look at something. So this is great. This is the perfect size. And now, my numbing is posing a big problem today. So here are the dry pastels that I've chosen to work with, chalk pastels. And I'm going to just think about using colors today to express who I am and the things that are going on in my life. So mandalas are a great way to really put all of those things out there that hold, like a container, holding the space of all that you are, from what you might consider the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, all that we are. There is no good, there is no bad, there's just what we are and what we're becoming. So I am just going to use color to express that. There's going to be some darkness, there's going to be some brightness, there's going to be a lot of different things in my mandala, at least as I'm thinking here. So whether you're working in your sketchbook or you're working on a sheet of paper today, or you're just listening along, I hope you're out there, someone's out there listening. I'm going to get started on my mandala and do a little bit of talking as I'm working here. Now, mandalas can have, as you saw from the coloring book images, which were really beautiful, and someone had colored some of them. It can have image. My professor Lori Ellen Udstadt used to love to use words. Sometimes she'd use magazine images. Oh, and they were so beautiful. She loved pastel. She loved using chalk pastel, so she would incorporate pastel and magazine images into her mandalas, and she really used them as a way to heal trauma in her own life. And so what I love about circles, what I love about spirals, what I love about mandalas is that they're really meditative. So they let us focus in, especially in the art therapy process. They really let us focus in, and when we're working circular, something kind of happens, kind of trance-like, I guess. So, for lack of better words, in that I really focus in, and I begin this creative process, this actual physical process of making art becomes really meditative in nature. And so that I can just, if I weren't talking right now, and if I weren't bothering you with all my words, you could too just focus in. And I love the tactile experience of using oil pastel on something as smooth as newsprint to really let me get right in there and work those colors. If I were using pencil right now, I would be really stuck. My pencil would not want to flow, not want to move, and it would not be very meditative at all. So really, when you're thinking about this, think about what moves you, what kind of, if you're working on a mandala, what kind of, some people really like to work tiny and meticulously. Maybe that's your process. Maybe that's what's meditative to you. For me, working big, working circular, that's really where I loosen up, and the power of art takes over. The transformative power, the transformative qualities of art take over. I saw a wonderful video last night. It was a news segment. I was looking at different artists, and there was an artist who works like this but works in the sand. And I'll talk about him more tomorrow, because he applies to tomorrow's video a little more than today. So I'll share that tomorrow. But also, there is this group of Buddhist monks that are out in the Spring Green area, and I've never been there to see them, but I've been hearing about them for 20 years, no, 25 years, and they're still out there, and every spring they do the same thing. So they work in sand, they create sand mandala. So they take turns, they work, I believe 24 hours a day for maybe an entire week, maybe it's an entire month, I can't remember. And they create this imagery, this huge imagery, and they work so tiny, and it's delicate and intricate, and it's that huge mandala with all of these details. And then when the last monk is done, the last drop of sand, or the last little pebble of sand has been added, he stands up and he grabs a broom and he sweeps it all away. All of that work, all of that time invested, and they sweep it up, and it goes back to being earth. And that to me is so amazing, that it's really about the life process and about the meditative quality and all the intentions that went into creating that beautiful piece. And talk about process-oriented art therapy. Wow, that's amazing. They spend all that time, process, and then in the end, that beautiful product is swept away, and what is held on to are the intentions that they created as they made that work. Okay, so my mandala is taking form, taking shape, not thinking about really what it represents. I'm adding lots of color. Remember, you can work on these so differently. It could be really process-oriented like I'm making it right now. It can be very intentional and very literal, using words from magazines or incorporating words. Could be like the yin and the yang, which is a mandala, and holds those polarities of who we are. Kind of losing track of my circle here, but I'm working in circle. Boy, it's a good workout for your arms too, to use those big motor skills if you're working this big. So I wouldn't get a lot out of making tiny little details. I'm not much for getting a lot out of coloring little details either. However, that is exciting for some artists. They love working in imagery where you color small repetitious detail. For me, working big and working in color is more exciting for me and more liberating. So really discover you know, what works for you and what will open you up and what will kind of transform where you're at now into further understanding about who you are. Okay? Thank you so much. Happy art making. We will be back here tomorrow. I'll be able to speak more clearly, and I'm trying so much more, and I can feel the Novocaine wearing away as I talk more and more. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow on Friday.